What's up, guys? It's Duke here from sportsgamers.com. I'm very excited for today's Madden 20 tip, guys. We're going to drop some fire. I'm breaking down my favorite coverage defense in the entire game. This is a secret coverage defense that people don't know about, and they certainly don't know how to beat it. So this is kind of a combo custom coverage I've made that I really love to use against people who want to abuse the trip sets like Trey Y flex and run plays like Dagger with deep crossing routes, deep dig routes. I'm going to show you guys how you can lock up trip sets like that, and also how you guys can use it against other meta formations such as bunch, where people want to throw verticals, corners, posts, crossers, all that. So this is going to be a great video. I want to kind of go over some of the personnel that I like to run with this. And one thing before we do that is I want to explain, guys, when I say a combo coverage, we're going to basically be turning cover 2 into a 3 deep. We're going to be playing cover 2 on one side of the field, but then the other side of the field is going to be a combo between cover 3 and cover 4. Now, there are similar defenses like this on this year's game, like cover 6 and cover 9, for example. However, I prefer my adjustments I make on this defense much more than that. And we're going to run it from a base cover 2 sink, which you can do from either nickel or big nickel. Nickel normal, big nickel, doesn't really matter. Both are in the Jets playbook, which is what I really like a lot. Now, I will say personnel does matter on this defense, so we're going to look at nickel normal. And, for the most effectiveness, you guys do want at least one defensive lineman that has a pass rush ability. What I would recommend doing in nickel is one of two things. Either I would use one defensive line pass rush ability on your D tackle and have a pass rush elite, and then I would probably put my other abilities on my safeties to get some universal coverage out there, some enforcers, some lurkers, whatever. Or I would go all out and have 3D line pass rush abilities, one on the D tackle and 2 on the ends. Or the last thing you could do would be have both of your D ends be pass rush elites with like edge threat or whatever, and then have your user be like that the like enforcer lurker guy at linebacker that you could put a safety at linebacker. Now the other thing is, guys, these linebackers in this formation can be subbed out for safeties, so I would definitely recommend doing that. You'll get much better coverage with safeties in the game versus linebackers. So let's get into it now. Before I do want to remind you guys to please subscribe to the channel. Hit the subscribe button in the corner of the video. Make sure you turn your notifications on so you don't miss out when our content goes live. We post great tips and content every day. I'm about to start posting some gameplays. This is the type of stuff you're not going to find anywhere else, and you don't want to miss it. Now, in the meantime, if you want to get better at Madden 20, make sure to head over to sportsgamers.com. We have the best Madden 20 tips and ebooks available anywhere you cannot find the content, the quality that we put out. So I want to show you guys my adjustments against a few different types of formations, a lot of the meta stuff you're going to see. So let's start with the Trey Y flex, like a trips tight end first, to dealing with the deep crossers and digs and all that. So there's a few different ways you can set this defense up, but the main thing I want to go over is how to stop the meta stuff people run, the deep crossers, corners, vertical type routes, all that. So again, we're going to be in the cover 2 sink. I definitely prefer the cover 2 sink this year over Tampa 2 because the soft squats are more versatile. So we're going to do a lot of different adjustments here depending upon what's going on. But I will tell you guys, against a trip set like this, Trey Y flex or trips tight end, you definitely always want to baseline and press. So the way we do that is we hit coverage audible, which is Y on Xbox or triangle on PlayStation. Then we hit to the right, which is going to baseline, and then we hit coverage again, which is Y on Xbox, triangle on PlayStation, and then down to press. We're going to pinch our defensive line, which you can quickly do by hitting left on the D-pad and then down on the left stick. And at this point now, we're going to go over the rest of the adjustments that we make on a play-to-play basis. So I do control this linebacker in the mid-read. I definitely like doing this. But again, we're going to look to play cover 2 on the left on the trip side. But on the other side, the tight end side, we're not going to be playing cover 2. We're going to turn this cover 2 into 3 deep. And it's going to be, basically, we're going to put the safety on the right into a deep third. So we do that again. We hit YY on Xbox, triangle on PlayStation, and select our defender's icon, which here is A, and then to the left on the left analog stick to put them in the inside third. Now we do the same thing with that outside right corner. Hit YY for on Xbox, triangle on PlayStation, hit his icon B, and then we want to put him in the outside corridor, which is the cover 4 deep zone, and that's going to be to the left on the right analog stick. So the other thing we do is we like to hit left to the left on the D-pad, and Y, which is lefty tackle, and then left on the right analog stick to spy the D-tackle. This is going to allow him to, play that short middle on drags and ends, but also prevent the scramble. So this is kind of our base, but we have more options at this point. Now, because we're turning this cover 2 into 3 deep, we are always playing on the mid-read. We can control him to blow up inside zones and HP dives and bases and, general single-back shotgun type runs. We're not really looking to run this on eye tight or anything where they run stretch every play or dive every play, but against these formations we can. But again, because it's a 3 deep, now we don't really have to cover the middle ourselves the whole time. Now, we might have to cover the seam a little bit, but we don't actually have to worry about getting bombed down the middle. So we have a few options here. We can keep this vert hook. By keeping this vert hook, he's going to do a good job of defending that seam, especially like to the tight end, or maybe if we were going up against a bunch, he might defend, the seams a little bit better. I do recommend an auto flip on, by the way. However, if they're going to do a lot of crossers, a lot of corners, I find that the outside quarter plays way better if we actually put him in a hard flat, to this side of the field where they want to run the crosser. It's just, you'll notice that outside quarter will play better against crossers and corners when he has, this linebacker playing in the flats, whether it's a hard flat or a cloud flat. You just see he plays better than when he's in a vert hook. So, other than that, our only other decision is, do we want the soft squat over here on this outside corner? Soft squats definitely do a good job, playing more than cloud flat. So I do prefer by default the soft squat. But if I see someone knows how to manipulate soft squats and I need a cloud flat, I can just obviously put them in a cloud flat. So I'm going to show you guys a few different examples of how these zones all work against different route combos and when to use each. Against, like I said, I'm going to show a lot of different money plays and how it works. But that's kind of my thought process on this coverage. So now that you've seen that, let's get into some examples of how it actually works. Dagger like this, you already know, like they're going to have the streak, they're going to block the running back, they're going to try to roll out. So my job here is essentially going to be to play, kind of whatever I see coming over the middle, and then also, watch for any sort of routes I need to manly guard. Maybe if the tight end goes on the streak, you'll want to guard him in the seam, but eventually you can peel off him. So you guys can see, like right here, I guard him, and then I'm kind of just playing that crosser, but I come back over to the middle to the dig, and there's nothing open. Now you guys will see that if they do try to roll out, and this time I'm not even going to play defense, I'm just going to set the controller down, the same adjustments. If they try to roll out and throw that crosser, it's going to be played well by that corner. Now, is he always going to be able to play it perfectly? Most of the time he's going to be in position, but as we know in this year's game, especially if they have a route chem to make them get those crazy animations, they might be able to catch some passes here and there. But the thing is, I can promise you guys that this defense will allow you to click on and make plays. So here, I'm going to try to roll out and throw this just so you guys can see how it's going to look. I do have Ramsey over there who, that's a pretty good corner. But as you guys can see, alright guys, so last time I didn't roll out. This time I'm literally going to set the controller down and I'm going to make my adjustments and then see how my defense plays it on their own while trying to roll out. So I'm going to go ahead and block my running back. I'm going to go ahead and double team this guy so I can roll out. I'm going to even motion this guy just in case in case they're blitzing. Obviously I'm not here. But as you guys could see, this route is pretty much absolutely blanketed. You guys can see there's nothing open. If you guys notice on this play that the mid-read, as you guys can see here, he pretty much matches up with him. And this deep zone is chilling. Like I said, this deep zone does the best job you're going to find of any deep zone of staying on the sideline to be able to give you an angle to click on and make the play here. Now, I will tell you guys that if you have to kind of manually, because we're normally playing on the mid-read, you guys do have to kind of like watch this route initially, like kind of like ride in this area until you feel comfortable that your corner will at least be in a good enough position that you can click on and break it up. So what you really do need to do here is play it, and you guys can see that what's going to happen is that this vert hook, he's going to basically stay with that in route, so you don't even have to worry about that. Now, if they don't max protect and they have a streak, that vert hook will get pushed back, kind of like it did the first play where I didn't max protect so I could easily roll out. But when they're max protecting, that vert hook will always play him. Now, if they don't have max protect and they have a streak that pushes the vert hook back, what you're going to need to do is what I kind of just described. You're going to cover this deep crosser initially, like kind of like right till this point until they're going to have to throw it late. And by the time they have to throw it late, that's normally when that outside quarter will let you click on and make a play. Now, like I said, are they always going to play it perfectly? No, because this is Madden 20, and you can just throw crazy covered routes, and if you have a route cam, you might catch it sometimes. But they're going to play it well enough that that's not going to be just something that they can rely on. So if that's the case, you kind of guard him, and then once this guy starts breaking over the middle, that's when you drop down and take that last read away. So that's kind of how that works. I really do like this because it's going to take away lots of things that they commonly like to do. Plus, like I said, if they go to something different to where maybe now, they're trying to attack you underneath, right? Something like this where they have some underneath route. That's cool because we can make the adjustment as I showed you guys right here where we do the same defense, but instead of having the vert hook on this other linebacker that's on the left of the screen, what we're going to do is we're just going to playmaker him into a hard flat. Now, guys, the spy is also important because not only does it prevent them from scrambling, but also it does do a great job of, kind of just playing that short mid so they can't throw that drag right over the middle. Like right here, if you take a look, a play like this, I can kind of take away that crosser myself because I know that drag's covered. If you throw that, that's going to be picked off by a hard flat. And you can't throw it over the short middle either because that spy is just sitting there. So the spy is not only to help against people trying to run with their quarterback, but also it just plays that short middle. So they have like a drag, an in, something like that. They can't throw it here. So now that at this point they have to throw it, and maybe they can complete it here. But most of the time, as you guys can see, if they throw it a split second late, because most of the time they'll be staring down that crosser, you guys can see that's going to be a pick. Now, again, you guys can see I really like this coverage shell because, again, even though it's cover 2 on the trip side, it's a 3 deep overall. So they're not going to be able to hit you with these bombs like right here. This would not be open. And then again, you guys can see what I'm talking about. These crossing routes, even if I'm not guarding this, say I'm not guarding it here. Let's just say I'm not guarding it. This corner right here is chilling, man. He's just waiting for it. He's going to play that very good. Again, I'll do the same adjustments again just to show you guys. But this is my favorite defense to take away these crossing routes overall. Is I baseline, I press, I pinch my D-line, I put the safety on the right side of the screen, basically the safety opposite the trips into the inside third. I put my outside corner on the right, again opposite the trips in the outside quarter. I then spy my left defensive tackle, and then I put my linebacker that's on the right of the screen into a hard flat, and I control my mid-read. Now, like I said, this does a better job overall because for 2 reasons. A, the hard flat will take away any sort of drag, and then also, because we have a hard flat over here, this outside quarter just plays a little bit different and overall better against the crossing route. So you guys can see here, we're going to do the same exact thing. Whatever. We're going to have basically the same play. It's just, the same play, just a slightly different route combo, but we're going to still have basically the same thing going on. You guys are going to see, look, I take away this crosser and then drop down on the drag. If you try to throw that deep cross after I take it away, it's not going to get played. It's not going to get open because this corner is kind of just waiting here. And you guys can see the big difference having this safety in the inside third, the corner and outside quarter, and this linebacker in that hard flat really makes. Because you guys can see he's pretty much just waiting on that route. So now I have to guard him for even less time before I can come off on the underneath stuff or the in route or whatever they might have. So you guys can see if that applies to Dagger, the same thing's going to happen. So again, yeah, you can leave that vert hook, and that vert hook is nice for taking away the seam, but in my opinion, it is better to just go ahead and put him in a hard flat because you already know once you do that, he's just not only gonna take away any sort of drag or whatever that could be coming that way, but he's gonna allow the outside quarter to play better on that crossing route. So again, this time we're gonna do Dagger. Again, I'll just go ahead. This is the same setup essentially, and we're gonna have the same responsibilities. We're gonna have to take away that tight end streak initially, then come off on the crosser, but we can come off on that in route late. And like I told you guys, that's not gonna be open on that sideline. Even if they're able to roll out, they're not going to be able to consistently make that throw. You're going to see that, look, I guard him just enough, but then I can come down late. You're going to see that if you try to roll out and throw this, that guy's going to be in good enough position over here, because you guys see he's basically just chilling. You're going to be able to click on and pick that off most of the time, if not just break it up. So this is, like I said, this is not just for taking away the rollout crossers and corners, but this just does a good job in general. This is a good defense for bunch too. A lot of people try to do similar stuff out of bunch. Like, look here, we'll look at bunch trail. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go out of here, cover 2 sink. And again, we're just in nickel normal. We could do big nickel over G. It really doesn't matter. Now, one thing I will say is with this, I do like to have my auto flip on. As you can see, it was off. I need to turn it on. Because what's going to happen here is when the auto flip is on, so let's go ahead and just come out of the play again. You'll see that nickel back, he's going to stay on essentially the trip side of the formation. So when you have auto flip on, and that's what I want that vert hook over there. If I come out and tray Y flex, he's going to be on the left side of the field because, again, that's where the 3 receivers are. As you can see, he's right here. Now, when I just came out in bunch without auto flip on, he just lined up on the left, which we don't want. We want him on that bunch side always. So, again, you can see I'm going to come out of bunch here, and you're going to notice the difference with auto flip on. He's going to be on the bunch side. So now he's lined up right here. That's perfect. Now, I really like this because, if they try to flip their bunch or whatever, just come out and flip, you're going to see that with auto flip on, that corner is just going to go over there automatically. So we don't have to worry about anything. It's just set up nice. Bam. All right, so let me just go ahead and flip the play. So that if they want to flip the play, all you do is flip the play and reset it right with them. Now everyone's lined up properly, and again, you're good to go. So, against a bunch set, what I would do is, to be quite honest with you, I would go ahead and I would not even baseline against bunch. I like to just keep it compressed, and I'm going to go ahead spy the lefty tackle. I'm going to keep my cover 2 on the bunch side. On the lone receiver side, I'm going to keep my cover 2. But on the bunch side, again, I'm kind of doing the same thing. I want to make sure I take away those corners and crossers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put this safety right here in the inside third. So again, that helps against the bombs, like especially if they're going to try to bomb this deep post potentially out of the bunch trail play. That helps against that. And then again, I'm going to put this outside corner and outside quarter, and then I'm just going to let it be. Now, again, you have the option here. If they're just running a lot of seams, that vert hook is good because then you don't have to worry about the seam as much. However, if they're going to try to throw a lot of, routes to the sideline, if they have a lot of corners and, like whip routes and just quick out routes and things of that nature, then, you can definitely put your guy in a hard flat. Or even, if you wanted to, you could shade down and up and he'll go in a cloud now. Now, one thing I will say is this soft squat over here, if you keep the soft squat, this guy will definitely follow your lone receiver a good bit. Now, the thing you need to know about that is that's good in most cases. However, if they're running some sort of clear out concept to where they're basically going to isolate the bunch guy, he's going to come over and he's going to man up on the lone receiver. And in the bunch, the lone receiver was on the left here, but then they also have someone coming over from right to left. That could be an issue that you need to look out for. So, if you're worried about that, one thing I'll do a lot is I'll put this guy in a hard flat. So then even now, if they somehow clear out that side and say, because they would clear him out with the deep post. Now, if they try to have someone come over the middle like this on a drag, that hard flat will guard him. Just so you guys can see just like that. See how that he guards him. And again, you will see on the replay, there is literally nothing open here. At this point, they're just going to have to rely on a broken play. But if you take a look at the replay, you will see everything is boxed. There is not a soul in sight open. Now, again, look, the soft squat, he's going to match that lone receiver a lot. So you guys have to know that that's good. That definitely helps out on a lot of routes they want to hit you with. But at the same time, it also can be bad in the sense that if they do that, like have a deep post or some sort of route that makes that lone corner match, but then they have like someone from the bunch side coming over the middle to the lone receiver side that's now cleared out. If you don't have a hard flat over there like I do here, that guy would be naked. All right, so that's very important. But again, you guys, you can see here, I pretty much have no responsibility because, again, they can't bomb me out of this setup because, again, I have cover 2 over here, but then over here, I've turned this into a 3 deep with this guy in the inside third and then this guy in the outside quarter. So, again, this is a combo coverage. It's my own way of playing combo coverage. You can call cover 6s and cover 9s, and they do something very similar. But I like this combo coverage a lot better because it just works better on this year's game than calling a cover 6 or a cover 9 by default. This is, like I said, this is just way better defense. Now, again, you guys can see this is normally the rollout corner guy, right? Well, again, I can promise you, you try to roll out and throw this, it's not going to end well for you because the coverage is too good. Now, I'm actually going to put Hopkins in that spot because he is a post-flag guy. You know, he's the type of guy that will make ridiculous catches. And you should see, with this coverage, they're going to play it super good, and that's not going to be a good read. So, you know, obviously, when you roll out like that, you already know, especially this bunch trail route, it normally is naked, right? Well, just take a look at my adjustments here. Again, I'm just pinching my D-line, spying the left D tackle, putting the safety on the right side of the screen, in the inside third. Again, I kind of already went over how to do that in the beginning of the video. And the outside corner in the bunch, I'm actually putting him in an outside corner. Now, at this point, again, if you're worried about that, if they're not really running a ton of corner routes, a ton of flat routes, you can just leave the vert hook by the nickel back because he'll do a good job of carrying seam routes and whatnot. But if they actually are trying to throw a lot of routes to the sideline, it's I personally prefer them to put them in a flat zone, whether it's a hard flat or whatever. And then if you want to turn it into a cloud flat, you can shade down and then shade up, and now he's in a cloud. So at this point, I can guard the seam routes initially before I break back to guard whatever else I need to guard. But again, the only other thing you have to keep in mind is if you keep a cloud flat over here, he's not going to match, so you don't need a hard flat by this guy. But if you were to keep him in a soft squat, he won't match. And if you want to make sure that it's covered on that side of the field, you will need to have some sort of flat zone over there, hard flat, whatever. All right, so let's take a look. I'm going to try to roll out here. I'm going to do the same concept. I'm going to max protect, double team this in so I can try to roll out and throw this corner out. And you guys are going to see that this is going to get guarded really well. That's not open. At no point in the play was that anything that remotely was open. Now, one last thing I kind of want to mention about this defense is zone ratings are big here, and so is speed. I've noticed on this year's game, the guys that have the high 90 zone, they just react. They react way better than guys that have like 80, 70 something zone. So, I mean, obviously, I'm on regs here, and I don't have the best defense. These guys don't have amazing zone, and it's doing the trick. But I'm going to tell you guys, if you're playing Mutt and, you have a great defense, this defense is going to be even better because you're gonna get much better reactions from your defense when you have higher zone coverage. I will tell you that, and just even clicking on, they're going to be in better position, and you're just going to get more picks. But as you guys see, there is no point where you could throw this and even expect it to be even close to completion. One last thing I want to show you guys is that this is great for people who want to run the verticals play too. It's a very common play that people have been running for years is verticals, right? So again, I'm going to do the exact same adjustments. I'm just going to go ahead, pinch my D-line press. Now, one important thing to note is I only base align and press against the trip sets like the tray wide flex. I only do that against those types of formations. Against something like a bunch formation or a type formation or a split close, I'm just going to go ahead and press and not base align. I only do that against the tray wide flex because I need to do that to defend that crossing route better, or trips tight end, or any formation that's trips like that with one of those crossing type routes. All right. So again, if I go ahead and do the same adjustments that I have been doing this whole time, you guys are going to see them. Look at them right here. It's the same little adjustments. You guys are going to see that this verticals play is going to be boxed up completely as well. So that's why this is so good, is I don't really have to worry about any sort of routes getting open here at all. You guys are going to see that this verticals route is not going to be open. I can just carry this seam right away and then come back open on this drag. Now, the one thing I will tell you guys is if they're doing a lot to the slot receiver, if he's the one that's constantly running corner routes, if he's constantly on post, crossers, whatever, you don't want to guard him yourself, you can get a little adjusty, right? You could put your best corner in the slot and just go ahead, man him up, throw it away to keys. Now, or you could do something that I do a lot, which is just cross-man him. Now, to cross-man him, you're going to want to have a player here that is actually not a linebacker, but a safety with some good coverage. And now you can actually cross-man him in the slot, so if he's running one of those crossers or posts across the field, he's going to get covered way better than just manning him up with this guy right here. Because let's be honest, if we just man him up with this guy right here, chances are he's not gonna play it super well. Obviously, right? But now if I cross man him, and that's a decent player, if he's running a post or a deep cross across the field, it's going to be a lot better coverage. Now, will he sometimes beat him, especially if he has a route ability? Sure, because again, this is Madden, and if you have route abilities this year, you're pretty much unstoppable. But you guys can see the difference. That's Hopkins, an elite receiver, against someone who's, quite frankly, not that good, and yet that was very solid coverage. So you can imagine if you put one of your goons there. I mean, yes, he had some separation, but that was way better than it was before, right? And if that's kind of a more equal type defender, where it's a more reasonable matchup, the coverage is going to be even better. But again, my responsibility here is when I take away that vert hook, I already know if I see a seam, I have to guard it like basically between 5 to 10 yards. But once it gets past that point, I can bail off it because that safety is going to rotate to the middle of the field, and now I can come back underneath to take away whatever I need to take away, like that drag. But again, as you're going to see, it takes away verticals very well also. So this is, like I said, this is a very, very good combo coverage. It takes away a lot of the more popular things people want to do in this year's game. And, it's very easy to set up. It definitely gets good pressure if you have a good D-line, and you have the ability to stop the run. Again, this is a defense I'd recommend running against people who run single back, people who run shotgun. I wouldn't really run it against, obviously I-form tight, like strong tight, strong twin, H-wing, those types of formations. I would stick to the run D. But guys, if you're playing someone who loves to abuse those trips formations, those bunch formations, those tight formations, and throw those annoying routes on you, this is the D to use. Hope y'all enjoyed the tip. I'm out of here.